Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? I like to start my streams with tones. Prepares my voice for what comes next. And what comes next comes from the Book of Deuteronomy. And our setting is with a man named Moses, who stands upon a rock in front of a throng of people. And they're grumpy. They're tired, they're hungry, they're thirsty. And they are seeking a kind of guidance that one can only seek from a religious text from 3,000 years ago. And this is what Moses says. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. What does it mean? What does it mean? Wow. Good morning, cowboy. I'm glad my videos brighten your day. Good morning, little trashy. It's been some time. So nice to see you. Good morning. Oh my god, it's girly. Good morning, Savannah. I'm so happy you all are with me today. You've missed me the last few days. Am I okay? I am okay. Good morning, Paige. Good morning, Taylor. It's been a while, Fox. Yes, I'm doing quite well, Dudette. Thank you for asking. My mornings have been shifted because I've added an extra slot where I speak with my partner about important things. So streaming later. I like to be streaming at 8, and now it's almost 11. But so it goes. Sometimes you start 3 hours late. Sometimes you start 3 hours late. Twice in a row. And it's okay. So what did Moses mean when he said, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asher Echad? Well, first we should make a little admission that Moses did not actually say those words. First of all, because Moses never existed. His voice was written by Levitic priests after the Babylonian exile. Perhaps before, but certainly the tone of his voice was shaped by that event. And in the version of the Torah that we have, at least, the word Asherah was not present in the prayer. Probably never was in any version, except modern Teresa feminist version. Asherah was a goddess who was written out of the Old Testament, but that is okay. So we can write her back in, because the texts are flexible. In any case, what might Moses have meant when he said, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asherah Echad? Listen, Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asherah are one. Yahweh and Eloheinu were two Canaanitic gods. Yahweh was from the south. El was from the north. You can hear in El's name the echo Allah. Yahweh and El are one. Just one God. It's a statement of monotheism. And it means a lot of different things, depending on who is saying it, and when, and why. But what we can take it to mean today is that all of these different characters in your life... Come in!
My sippy... You're busy.
I'm streaming.
Okay. My sippy cup isn't in here.
Your sippy cup is not in here.
You look pretty.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. There are people in our lives, right? And sometimes we can characterize them with one kind of personality or another. I like that human that came in through the door. So, some of the more divine characters that we have embedded in our psyche resemble Yahweh, Father, resemble Asherah, Mother, right? And Yahweh and El can fight over who is actually the Father. And that's an old pattern too, isn't it? So Moses is saying, Yahweh and Asherah, Yahweh and El and Baal. Baal and Anat and Ishtar, they're all one. For better or for worse. What are we to do with that statement of monotheism, that a serpent consumes its tail and yet remains a serpent? What are we to do with that? Well, like a serpent that eats its tail, the words that come next say, copy me. And here's what they sound like. ואהבת את ענת אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאוהות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. So what might that mean? Well, I want to tell you, but first, Shema Yisrael. Yes, indeed. What is going on here? Well, what is going on here, in the most immediate sense, is that the number of people entering the stream is increasing, and with it is the amount of chaos in our dialogue. So I'd love to tell you what is actually going on here and the meaning of the words that I'm saying, but there are some distractions, and so we're going to have to take care of them. So I need to check in with the moderators. Ishtaras, are you a moderator? You are. I would really love it if you could mute some of the more obnoxious comments, or not even obnoxious, just distracting. Hey Judette, you are a moderator. You have those privileges, and I would love it if you would mod for me. I don't actually want to focus too much on negativity. Many of these comments aren't strictly negative. But I think you know the conversation that I want to be having with you. And I think you know which comments contribute to that conversation and which comments take away from that conversation, right? Like, I'd like to talk about the Via Hafta. I think it's a very beautiful prayer. And, you know, people ask me distracting questions, and sometimes I feel compelled to answer those questions because I want to engage with you all. But I could use some help with engaging on the right terms, you know? So, if anyone else would like to be a moderator to help build a sense of community in this little space, you can join my Discord server, and we can chat about what it means to moderate, and I've been having a nice conversation about gender over there too. Taylor, you can mod for me. Great, let me add you. Admin settings, moderators, Taylor. add. Okay, Taylor, you are now a moderator. Great. Thank you, Tiana. So for those of you now asking if you can mod, if you want to mod for me, you should join my Discord server and have a conversation with me in the live stream discussion channel about moderation. Let's chat about what kind of tone I want to be setting, and I want to make sure that you and I have a shared understanding about that, and then I would love to make you a moderator. A moderator is someone who structures the community dialogue in a productive way. That is what a mod is. Okay, so now that we have had this conversation, we've gotten that out of the way, we can return to talking about the Via Hafta, which is the name of this prayer. And yes, it is a prayer with daddy issues. For those of you who like to claim that I'm fatherless, don't actually think that contributes to our conversation very much. If you want to actually have a conversation about abusive fathers, you can watch my videos. That is a topic that I discuss. But bringing it up in this context is not actually appropriate, and my mods will mute you if you continue to make statements like that. But yes, you are somewhat insightful, and these prayers are rife with some daddy issues. But let's listen to what the Via Hafta actually says, right? You shall love Yahweh Eloheinu, Sky Dad, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And take to heart these instructions, which I charge you today, and impress them upon your children. So says Sky Dad. Right? Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thank you, Kim. I really appreciate you letting the people know what kinds of pronouns I like. I don't really like answering that question, and I get asked it a lot, and it's a completely legitimate question to ask me, but I don't like answering it. And threatens to hurt me if I don't answer it, will get you muted. Yeah. So, the Via Hafta says, copy me, right? That's what it says. It says, love God. Understand that God is one. The serpent eats its tail. Do you know that's hard to understand? So, while you're working on understanding it, why don't you just work on repeating it? Just say it. And say it again. And say it again. And maybe one day you will understand what it means. Maybe one day you'll actually experience yourself to be one with all, just as Yahweh Echad. So, Yahweh has some daddy issues of his own, you might say, right? So, what did we inherit from our fathers? We inherit our bodies, we inherit our minds, we inherit resources, right? That was the thing that the patriarchy did. They made it so that you inherited your resources from your father. So, Yahweh, he wants you to repeat his name a lot, because he's a little bit like Donald Trump. And so after he tells you to say his name a lot, he tells you why. And the reason why is a little bit scary. Vechaya, כי הביאך יהוה אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר נשבע לאבותיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב, לתת לך ערים גדולות וטובות אשר בנית, ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר לא מילאת, ובורות עצובים אשר לא עשת, וכררים וזיתים אשר לא נטעת, והלכת ושבת. ישמר לך פן תשכח את יהוה אשר תישך מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. When Yahweh Eloheinu brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is Hebrew. This is Abrahamic tradition. So for those of you who are just joining now, we are saying the prayer that comes immediately after the V'ahavta. The V'ahavta and the Shema are the two most recited prayers in Judaism. And what comes immediately after is this description of patriarchal inheritance. And it starts, when Yahweh Eloheinu brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to assign to you great and flourishing cities that you did not build, houses full of all good things that you did not fill, hewn cisterns that you did not hew, vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant, and you eat your fill. Take heed that you do not forget Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. Good morning, Rainbow Patches. Giddy, that is a fantastic question. That's a really fantastic question. I hope you stick around to the end of the stream and we can talk about that. That's more than a question, that's a conversation. I'd love to have that conversation with you. How does Judaism impact my life on the commune? How are they affecting one another? It's a very good question. Well, I can start by saying this. I live in this house that I did not build. And when I look outside my window, I can see a path leading up to a spring. And around that spring is a cistern, a hewn stone cistern dug into the ground. The water bubbles up from it. I did not dig that cistern, but I drink its water. And I own this land now, in part. But the people who owned it before me, and the people who owned it before me, and the people who owned it before me, none of them earned it. And in fact, the first people who owned the land stole it from people who had a different relationship to it that was not necessarily so tied to ownership in the same way. So remember, says Yahweh, when you drink from your cistern that you did not hew, and you eat from your vineyard that you did not plant. There's a vineyard right outside my window that I did not plant. And I eat from it every year. Sweet grapes. So Yahweh says, remember when you eat those grapes, you did not earn this. You inherited it from your fathers, and in fact, they stole it. They stole it. It's a secret. They stole it. It's not so much a secret, actually. It says it in the book. It describes it quite vividly in the book, exactly how they stole the land. So, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad, for this curse. I appreciate it. Somehow you lost your mod rights. No, you did not, Kim. You are absolutely still a moderator. Maybe you should leave the stream and return, but I see a little moderator sign above your name. So, does that answer your question about how does Judaism impact my life on the commune? I guess to summarize, like, living here in this place reminds me every day that my life is not so different from that of my ancestors, and that there's trauma there. Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, shelo ashani isha. I repeat the name of Yahweh Eloheinu, who did not make me a woman. Thanks, Sky Dad. Someone else had to do that. Baruch atah Asher Anat Melech HaOlam Asher Yitzach et Ha'adam B'chachama U'v'ra ve'od. I repeat the name of Asherah Anat, who made me with many openings and cavities. No, my commune is not a Jewish commune. I don't live in an explicitly Jewish community. And my practices are not explicitly Jewish either. Many Jews would say that what I am doing is blasphemy, perhaps. I don't know if they would use that word, perhaps, depending on who you asked. But we do celebrate Shabbat in the community and Passover in a certain sense. So we have some Jewish rituals that we uphold together, and I have some Jewish rituals that I uphold personally. The most important one being this ritual stream that I do every morning. I repeat these words every morning to connect to Judaism in the way that I know how. But no, my community is not explicitly religious. What is Passover? Huh. What a question. I shouldn't be surprised to get that question. Passover is the formative holiday of Judaism. Passover is the story of how the Israelites left slavery in Egypt and returned to their homeland, the land of Israel. But it wasn't their homeland. It wasn't. It was not their homeland, and so they had to take it by force. And that's how the story of Passover ends. Moses wanders through the desert with the Israelites for 40 years. And then Moses dies, and he passes the mantle of leadership to Joshua, and Joshua crosses the Jordan River into Jericho and kills everyone who lives in the city. That's the story. So Passover. Passover is a great holiday where you don't eat leavened bread for a week to remind yourself of the house of bondage, Eretz Avadim, that your people came from. Passover is the day of remembrance, the day they remember the angel of death passing over the houses marked by the sheep's blood. Yes, the angel of death kills the firstborn sons of all of Egypt. A genocide, if you will, right? A racially motivated killing of the source of power of a people who were not the Israelites. And so we commemorate this genocide with the story of Passover. So when Yahweh Eloheinu takes you into the land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to assign to you great and flourishing cities that you did not build, houses full of all good things that you did not fill, hewn cisterns that you did not hew, and you eat your fill, take heed that you do not forget Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. Deuteronomy 22:5. Can you quote that to me directly? I don't actually know what Deuteronomy 22:5 is, but if you could post it in the chat, I would love to talk to you about that section of Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy 6:13, I believe is what I've been reciting. What do I think of Deuteronomy 22:5? Quote it to me and I will tell you. Okay. I did. It's not paint. It's Sharpie. But yes, this is the Tree of Life. So Asherah here. Asherah was a goddess. She was a... Hold on. Pharaoh did have multiple chances to let them go. Sad, the only thing he could lose. That's an interesting interpretation. Sure, he had multiple chances. Does that mean that genocide was warranted? Does that mean that Yahweh was justified in killing every Egyptian child? Anyway. Anyway. Ashura was Yahweh's spouse at some point, before she was discarded. Where was I going with that? Someone asked me a question. Too many questions. The tree is beautiful. Yes. Alright. So Ashura was Yahweh's wife, and Ashura was associated with trees, sacred trees, like this. So this tree, it represents many things. It can represent different things on different days, but like, most strictly speaking, it's a phylogenetic tree. You can see there's branching. All the branches return to a central base at the root, and then they ramify out, right? So this is the evolutionary pattern that created all humans, all religions, all mammals, all eukaryotes. Evolutionary tree. And that was Ashura's symbol. Call them Ashura poles sometimes. There were poles that were made, but there were also sacred groves. We can have no doubt of that. There were trees that were worshipped. It's described in the texts. So this is one version of an Ashura pole, this one. Here's another. Kabbalah has a tree thing going on. Yes. So what we see in later Jewish mysticism, like Kabbalah, is the reincorporation of Ashura back into the tradition under a different name. Often she is named Shekinah. Sometimes she is literally embodied as a tree, right? The Sephirot. She never really went away. She was just buried. So we could uncover her again. Hi, Katie. How are you? I have one life, and I choose to live it like this. Yes. Yes, I do. And each and every one of you does, too. Now we're going to shift languages. We're going to shift languages to Sanskrit and read from the Shivananda yoga tradition. My real voice is deeper. You heard me in one of my videos. Do I fake my voice? Oh, what a lovely, lovely question. Am I faking my voice? Is this my real voice? Is this my real voice? Is this my real voice? What's my real voice? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Which voice is mine? They're all mine. They're all mine. They're all my voice. Every single one of these voices is my voice. None of them are fake. I'm sorry, hey, can I ask you something? Yes, you can ask me something. I've never gotten a question about my voice like that before. Like, what on earth do you mean? What is your real voice? Like, of course I'm performing. What is a voice? This is my voice. We're gonna shift into Sanskrit and recite a prayer that I learned at the start of pranayama practice when I learned breathing yoga. When I transitioned, I got changes to my abdominal muscles. I needed to build a sense of awareness in them. I'm gonna filter the word serial killer. Keyword filter. SERIALKILLER. Okay. Great. Now you can't call me a serial killer. How do I feel about the ideology of Buddhism? Many things. That is a question too large for me to adequately answer, I believe, in this live stream. Hi, baby love. Yes, there are many ways to get out around the filter. Many ways. Oh, good. You're very clever. You're very clever. How clever you are. So. What is mycology? Mycology is the study of mushrooms. So this is a prayer that I learned when I was taking pranayama classes, and I was studying pranayama because HRT shifted my abdominal muscles. I was out of balance and I needed to develop different ways of connecting to my body. So I learned this breathing yoga practice, and this was the prayer that we would say before we would begin. And the prayer would sound like this. Gajananam Udaganati Sevitam Kapita Jambupala Sarabakshitam Umasutam Sakavina Sakarnam Mahamatim Divyamayuravahanam Ridasyasinam Sarasananatam Guham Sadanam Saranam Prapadye Iaku Endutu Saraharadvala Yasu Pravasvarita Yavina Varandamadidakara Yasvita Padmasana Yabrahmachita Sankara Pratrapi Devasada Pujita Samampatu Saraswati Bhagavati Nihisa Chadiyapa Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nisparanjaya Santaya Shishivanandaya Te Namaha Shri Vishnudevanandaya Te Namaha Om Sarva Mangla Manglaye Shive Savarta Sadike Sarani Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Om I salute the three-eyed Divine Mother, Narayani, who brings auspiciousness and who fulfills the desires of the devotee, both spiritual and material. Narayani, with the three eyes. Pictured here, this is not Narayani. This is not Narayani. This is not Narayani. This is not Narayani. All of them are Narayani. Yes, Ishtaris, you're muting a lot. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I'm so sorry that you feel overwhelmed. I think then we need more moderators. So if you would like to moderate for me, please join my Discord server, and we can have a conversation there about what moderation looks like. And hopefully we can have more moderators in the stream, and that can keep the conversation in the space that we want it to be. But you are doing fantastically. Thank you so, so much. This stream would not be the same without you and the work that you are doing. Thank you. So, the next prayer we're going to say together is to Shiva. And it goes like this. Om Trayambakam Yajamaye Sugandim Pushya Vardhanam Orva Rukami Bhavandanan Mrityay Mukshiyam Amritatom Trayambakam Yajamaye Sugandim Pushya Vardhanam Orva Rukami Bhavandanan Mrityay Mukshiyam Amritatom Sarvesham, Svastir Bhavatu Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham, Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham, Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu, Makashintu Kabhagbhave, Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityur Mamritam Gamaya, Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat, Purnamudachati, Purnatya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishati, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Om Peace Peace Peace. Yes, Tiana, you can. You can. Slap them however you wish. Father figure. See, this question, it's a trollish question, but it's also a legitimate question. Yes, I do not have a good relationship with my father. You figured it out. Oh my goodness. What do you want? You want to hear more about it? Then ask me a legitimate question about it. Maybe I'll tell you. That outer world is full. This inner world is also full. From fullness comes fullness. Taking full from full. Fullness remains. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asherah Echad. What is the best piece of advice I would give you? It's the piece of advice that I try to say over and over again. It's what I just said. All is one. That's the message. That is actually the only message I can give. Any other message I could give you about relationships or purpose or meaning, all of it is actually meaningless. Because fundamentally, underneath all of that, there is a single truth, which is that all is one. It's incomprehensible. You can't get underneath it. You don't have a relationship with either of your parents. They're lost. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus loves you. Alright. Pronoun chart time. These are my pronouns. People asked me this question so much that I took a survey. And you told me what you thought my pronouns were, and guess what? These are my pronouns in these ratios. They're not up to me. You get to gender me. Congratulations. If you want to troll me, feel free. These are my pronouns. But I don't want to pray to my maker, no. I just want to be what I see. Not just who I am, but the pink in golden land, and that wide, wild sky over me. Help me to the sun, hey, I'm looking everywhere. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. Pray. And it's not much good to talk, better to walk it. Ooh, not much good to take, better to give. We are done, forgiven, and forgotten of our sins. And I promise you, my friends, all that dies will live again. So pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. Pray. Love Allah, Allah made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Asher, Asherah made good, and Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Love Allah. God made, God made, God made. But I don't want to pray to my maker. I just want to be what I see. Not like in a book, or the leaves of trees that shook, from a word that means only not a thing. No, no. Pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. Pray. I love Allah, Allah made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Asher, Asher, I made good. And Anat, Anat made bad. Elohim made love. And Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Hello, Allah. God made, God made, God made me. Thank you, Allison, for answering that question. Many of the questions I get asked, I actually have full videos on. Because, there is something coherent in what I'm trying to communicate to you. And when you have to break it up into 1-minute chunks, sometimes you have little packets that are shareable. So, Allison, if you wanted to share the video that I made about the self, that shows this tattoo, the self is what stays the same when all else changes, that would be a great way to respond to that question when it arises. And similarly, like, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, but you asked to see this chart again. Here it is. You can see the chart again. But I get asked to show this chart so many times throughout my stream. Could be very helpful, actually, if moderators or non-moderators would like to post the link to this video in the stream when people ask. I think that could be quite helpful. Yeah, it means a lot to me if those in my audience who know the answers to certain questions that are asked can answer them. And often you can answer them in my voice, because I do answer these questions quite a lot. What do you do for a living? I have a video on that, too. You'll have to figure out how to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's a big ask. It's like requiring that you know my, the videos that I've made. But if you can join the Discord server, and I can make a list of links for you, then you could just copy the links from the Discord. I don't know. We could figure it out. This is, a suggestion. I don't actually know if it's easy enough to orchestrate or if it's too difficult. But I'm trying to think of like ways to moderate that are more progressive than violent. Rather, I don't actually like kicking people out of the server. See, yeah, Jacob's asking, what do I do? So there's a video in my archive that I believe the thumbnail is labeled, "What do you do for a living?" You could click on it, and if somebody wanted to go find that video now and share it, that would be really cool. It'd be really cool. Yeah. What is the Discord server? The Discord server is a community space. I use it mostly with my students. So it's a space where we identify mushrooms, and I use it to communicate with the students that are living on the farm with me. But there's also a wider community space. There's a mushroom identification page on there, so if you need help identifying mushrooms, or you want to help other people identify mushrooms, you can hop onto that space and participate in mycological conversation. And we're also having a conversation about this stream, a very meta community building conversation, and trying to figure out how we can make this environment better. Yes, and we're talking about trans issues too, because I'm a trans person on the internet. People have questions about that, and so I answer them. What's the point to be alive if I don't answer the questions? Well, maybe I want to be listened to, and there are other people who want to listen to me, and they don't need to ask inane questions of me. Maybe. Maybe. I answer the good questions. So, I have a couple more mantras for you today. This next one is called Arati, and the word Arati means flame in Sanskrit, or light. Arati is light. And the refrain of this prayer goes, Jaya Jayarati. We wave the light. Jaya Jayarati Vina Vinayaka. Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha. Jaya Jayarati Subramanya. Subramanya Kartikeya. Jaya Jayarati Venugopala. Venugopala Venuola. Papa Vidura Navanita Chora. Jaya Jayarati Venkantaramana. Venkantaramana Sankatarana. Sitarama Radhe Shama. Jaya Jayarati Gauri Manohara. Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara. Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara. Jaya Jayarati Raja Rajeshwari. Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Shundari. Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati. Mahakali Mahashakti. Jaya Jayarati Anjaneya. Anjaneya Hanumanta. Jaya Jayarati Dattatreya. Dattatreya Trimutraya Vatara. Jaya Jayarati Adityaya. Adityaya Bhaskareya. Jaya Jayarati Sanistaraya. Sanistaraya Bhaskareya. Jaya Jayarati Sankaracharya. Sankaracharya Advaita Guravi. Jaya Jayarati Sadgurunata. Sadgurunata Shivananda. Jaya Jayarati Vishnu Devananda. Vishnu Devananda, Vishnu Devananda. Jaya Jayarati Agastya Munayi. Agastya Munayi Shriyama Priyayi. Jaya Jayarati Ayapa Swamine. Ayapa Swamine Dharma Shastave. Jaya Jayarati Jesus Gurave. Moses Gurave, Buddha Gurave. Jaya Jayarati Muhammad Gurave. Guru Nanak Gurave. Samastya Guru Bho Namaha. Jaya Jayarati Venugopala. Natatra Suyobati Natandra Karatam Nema Vidyobati Kutoyamagni Twameva Bantamanabandi Sarvam Dasya Basya Samidam Vivanti Om Gange Kayamune Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Sudikaveriya. Namastitam Namo Namaha. Twameva Mata Chapita Twameva. Twameva Bandisha Saka Twameva. Twameva Vidya Javinam Twameva. Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Kayena Vacha Manasindriyarva Buddhyatmanava Prakrite Sabhavad Karomyadyad Mangalam Parasmahe Narayana Iti Sarmar Payami. Neither the sun shines there, nor the moon, stars and lightning. So from where does its light come? From where does the light come? When that shines, everything else shines after that. By its light, all else is lit. Sarvadharmam pravichaya mamekam savaranam vraja. Sva sarvapapayo mokshayami masucha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these, I dedicate to you. And now we will say Kaddish for all of those people who died yesterday of coronavirus, and for all those other sources of death and injustice that have plagued the living since our lineage began 3.8 billion years ago, and will continue to plague us until we are all gone. And for the last 2,500 years, my ancestors have been repeating the following words in response to death. Yidgadal v'yidgadash shemei rabba, v'yama divrachute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayedikol be'Yisrael, bagala uvizman karim v'imru, amen. Yehi shemei rabba mev'arech li'olam, omei, omaya, yidbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yidba'ar, v'yirmam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha, berechu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbichata v'nekimata, diamiran v'yama v'imru, amen. Yesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alenu v'yachol Yisrael, amen. Oseh shalom b'mrama, huya aseh shalom, alenu v'yachol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, huya aseh shalom alenu v'yachol Yisrael, v'imru, v'imru, amen. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Even those of you who wish to hurt me, thank you. This has been quite the experience. Quite the experience. Have a wonderful morning. So, I'm not actually leaving just yet. I'm gonna have breakfast now. So I'm gonna turn off the YouTube